The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
A spark in the hills, a nightmare in the sky. The Palisades fire roared through Los Angeles, killing 12, destroying thousands of homes, and now investigators say it wasn't nature's fury, but a man's hand. Federal prosecutors say Jonathan Rinderneck lit a small brush fire that became a monster. Surveillance, phone records, and 911 calls trace his steps, evidence, they say, of deliberate destruction. And tonight, we break down the case. Can prosecutors prove it? Meanwhile, in Bainbridge, Indiana, a tragic mystery is unfolding. Britney Gard, a 46-year-old mother, has vanished into thin air after a suspicious fire broke out at her home. She was last seen the evening of September 30th, and the next day, smoke and flames were found at her house. Yet inside, neither she, her purse, nor her car were there. The day after, she missed her daughter's volleyball game, something friends say she would never do. Authorities are calling the fire suspicious, and tonight, everyone is asking, where is Britney Gard and what happened to her? But first, in a packed Cleveland courtroom, the trial of Bionca Ellis is ripping open the darkest questions. How could a single day turn so deadly? On June 3rd, 2024, a mom and her toddler were walking through a grocery store, and Ellis began to follow them, knife in hand. Witnesses testified it happened so fast, describing how little Julian was stabbed while in the cart as his mother tried desperately to protect him. Ellis has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, insisting the violence came from a place beyond her control. Now tonight, we will hear the dramatic testimony of Julian's mom. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. What an emotional, difficult day inside the courtroom in Ohio. And of course, we're talking about the case of little Julian, the little boy who was stabbed to death. Now, the woman who did it, she had a knife. She was holding the knife in her hand, visible to whoever was walking past her. She's walking around a grocery store waving this knife. And the question is, why didn't anyone notice? Should they have noticed? Should you take a moment if you see someone walking in the grocery store with a knife? Maybe, maybe not. I've never seen it, so I don't know how I would react, but I know on this day, this woman walking through this grocery store, people were oblivious to it. And at this point now, this case is not about whether or not she did it, because she did. That's her with the knife that was used to kill the child. But she's claiming legal insanity. Now, obviously, she has mental issues. I don't think that's going to be in dispute. But mental illness is a medical term. Legal insanity is the legal standard. And it's a little different. You have to know the difference between right or wrong, or appreciate the wrongfulness of your conduct. So it's all about your mental state at the time, which gets into why this happened. And that's what the trial is about. Her mental state, but prosecutors still have to prove the case, so they've got to put in all the evidence to show the jury exactly what happened. This fatal attack took place in the parking lot. So she apparently, as you watch the video, spots her victim and then follows the victim out of the grocery store into the parking lot. Now we get back to the first thing that I said. Obviously, the mother has no idea she's being followed by this woman who has a knife, so she doesn't see it. I'm just wondering, did anyone else see this woman walking now through a parking lot with a knife that is about to be used to kill a child? Maybe they didn't. Or maybe they didn't think it was out of the ordinary. To me, that's one of the frustrating parts of this. But as I said, they have to prove the case. You've got to prove your case. Even if it's legal insanity and you're not contesting the fact that this woman actually committed the act, you still have to prove it. And a big part of the proof comes from the mom.
who testified today. Gut-wrenching testimony. Now, in the state of Ohio, witnesses can opt out from being shown on camera, and this mom did that. So we will hear her voice, and really that's all you need to hear to understand what this woman has gone through, what this day was like, and what happened to her child. So we're going to play that testimony for you right now. It's tough, it's emotional, but this is the reality of what happened to this mom and what happened to her little boy.
We were all going to go to the store, my mom, my daughter, Julian, and myself. Okay? But my daughter fell asleep, and my mom said, let's not wake her. So it ended up just being Julian and I going.
Before you left the store, Mrs. Wood, did you notice anyone by you? Did you see anybody? Did anybody talk to you?
No.
Did you see other patrons in the store walk by you?
I did.
Did anybody stick out to you?
No.
When you were leaving, did someone say, hey, Margot, or acknowledge you, or had seen you, anything like that?
No.
So you were minding your own business, going to your car?
Yes.
All right. So tell us, walk me through that. So you went down the aisle that your car was parked?
I did.
Okay. And if you could be so kind, were you parked face forward with your car, or had you backed into the spot?
Face forward.
Okay. And so at any time before you got to your car, did you notice anything?
No.
All right. So once you got to your car, what's the first thing you did?
I'm sorry.
Just take your time.
I went to open my trunk.
Okay.
And then I turned to my right. And I saw her coming towards us.
When you say her, who we've come to know that is?
Bionca Ellis.
We're going to stipulate, Mr. Mack, that Mr.
And she's in this courtroom here today, is she not?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the stipulation, counsel. Go ahead, Mrs. Wood.
So I saw her coming, walking towards us, and I noticed she had a knife in her hand. And I said, oh no, Julian. So I had the car, I stood in front of the end of the cart, and I was trying to push him back he was still sitting in the cart. And she stabbed the back of the trunk of a car, and I got scared. But when I was pushing the car back, it fell over. And then she came at me. I'm sorry.
Take your time.
She came at me.
Mrs. Wood. Just breathe.
Okay.
Some water there for you, too.
But I moved. And she stabbed him in the side of his face. And then she stabbed me.
Take a minute. I'm going to ask a question. Some Kleenex to the left of you if you need a minute. Would you take a sip of water, and then I'll have her ask you another question. It's open. Ms. Frawley?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So, Miss Wood, when she stabbed you, what did you do or what did you say?
Didn't say anything. I was just. I couldn't believe this was happening. It was so fast. I was just trying to, so she wouldn't hurt it.
And what happened next?
And then she stood up and stabbed him in the back. And he was crying. He was crying.
After she stabbed him in the back, what did she do next?
She just walked away. Like nothing. She just walked away.
And, ma'am, what did you do?
I went to go grab him out of the cart. Because he was on his side, and I went to go and I held him. And I just felt blood on my hands.
The description about how fast it all happened, there's nothing that she could have done to protect her child. There's nothing that anyone could have done. Who would expect this? You don't prepare for this moment. But is there some way, somehow, that somewhere along the line that this could have been prevented? Let's bring in our think tank. Joining me in studio, criminal defense attorney, former assistant state attorney in Miami-Dade County, former assistant DA in Atlanta, Daryl Cohen, criminal defense investigator, Charles Middlestat, and criminal defense attorney, the man behind the glasses, Josh Schiffer. Okay, this is a woman, has a documented history of getting in trouble for little things here and there, here and there. Moments before this, she's at the police precinct, walking around the lobby in sort of a semi-agitated state. As she's leaving, turns the lights out, goes to the thrift shop, fumbling around, and somehow steals knives, and then heads to the grocery store. She has a history of intervention with police, but every time she gets in trouble for something, it's just, here it is, and then you're released. Why can't we do something with people who obviously are suffering from some level of mental illness? I think this is a much bigger problem in our system, and you guys know it, you're in it. You know how many times people who are mentally ill are getting caught up in the system, and in cases like this, doing something extremely dangerous, violent, and fatal. What do we do?
How do you explain the unexplainable? How do you excuse this horrendous act that she did? I don't know that there's much we can do to prevent it if she didn't have a previous history of violent behavior. But certainly someone should have seen her with a knife. Whether or not they could have done anything, that's another story.
I think responsive to what the question that you posed, like, can we do something? We're at a place where it's obviously too late at this point.
Too late in this case.
In this case.
But there's going to be thousands more like this.
Absolutely. But I know just from talking to folks in law enforcement that there is a frustration. If you're part of a law enforcement agency, that there really aren't a lot of options available. If there's a crime that has not been committed, when law enforcement comes in contact with individuals that clearly are suffering from some episode or some mental health issue, that they don't have the tools in their toolkit to offer these individuals assistance. And that is the big debate in this country, is that there is a gap, a significant gap that so many people fall through with regard to our ability to offer mental health services and options that would be responsive to this, separate from and distinct from the criminal justice system, right? These are the frontline folks that actually are probably the first responders to even come in contact with them. And it simply doesn't exist. And so something short of committal and something short of, responding to a crime when it's too late, we have to get to a place where we recognize these mental health crises and that we offer some sort of assistance so that we can prevent these sorts of issues.
And again, folks, the discussion we're having right now is not about legal insanity. Like that's a different discussion, and I don't think it's going anywhere in this case. This is about how do we prevent this child and future children or other victims from being killed from people who are suffering from mental illness, not necessarily legal insanity as defined by our courts, but mental illness who could be a danger to themselves or others, Josh.
And here's the problem, and who's at fault? It's my fault, because I passed the buck, and it's your fault because you passed the buck, and it's everybody in the audience's fault for passing the buck on someone where the only foreseeability was that this woman had serious mental problems. And our system passed the buck until the baby paid. And that's what happened. This baby paid for me passing the buck on someone that should have been taken care of by a robust system that would protect us from people that are known to have mental health problems and maybe fine 90% of the time. It's the 10% where they're deregulated, which isn't necessarily their fault. Anybody who's been exposed to severe mental illness, this isn't a light touch. No, this woman is absolutely incompetent when she's untreated. She had a long history. Her family had lost touch with her and knew she was unmedicated. It's not like we didn't know a problem was out there. We just don't do anything about it because we value low taxes more than...
Well, is it low taxes?
Yes,
or is it we don't want people committed anymore?
We closed all the hospitals.
We went from one extreme all the way to the other, where we had problems where we were just throwing people in and locking them up if we felt like they were mentally ill and then forgetting about them. And then we went to the other extreme where we don't have the instruments to do that.
We lock up so many mentally ill people. Oh, go to prison. 50% of people.
No, in prison. I'm talking about committal to get treated, to help them and to protect society.
We need to do this on a case-by-case basis, and she should have been treated. But my question is, if she was treated, if she was on her meds, would she perhaps have done this anyway?
No.
I don't know.
There's something short of committal. Listen, law enforcement already, the larger departments, the larger metropolitan departments actually train their officers. Like, for instance, here in Georgia, Post trains on being able to recognize when someone is in mental crisis and being able to employ verbal judo and being able to de-escalate situations.
But if there's someone who's mentally ill and potentially dangerous but has not done anything yet, it is virtually impossible to keep them from being free.
Yes,
like they will be free.
But who says free? What if a law enforcement officer who comes in contact with somebody like that was trained to make contact with that individual and not only de-escalate them, but that just offer some help, and there was some sort of
but they have to then want that help.
But we're not even offering that.
They have to accept the help, whether they want it. They have to accept it.
We're not even giving them the option to accept. Right now we're assuming they're either going to need to be committed or they're not going to accept the help.
I'm talking about people that are so far along that they are homicidal. They are let's take a look at her reaction. I want to show you. I want you to hear what her reaction was when she was confronted after killing this child. Okay, take a listen to this.
I said, "Do you know you stabbed that kid?"
And what were your observations of her at that time? Did she look at you?
Yes.
Did she respond to you?
Yes.
What did she say to you?
With the shrug and mouthing so.
All right, that's how far she was.
Totally, Melanie. Where do they end up? Because in every state, basically, we closed all those hospitals.
We did.
We now send violently mentally ill people to prison, but until you get really violent, our system doesn't do squat except check into a hospital and kick you out with a handful of pills.
And that's the problem.
And that's the problem.
The focus should be on
that.
preventing this from happening.
Yes,
like dealing with it
for it.
afterwards, our system is set up, we do it, right?
But
We're
what
reactionary.
happens?
We're
People have
completely
to,
We're too
reactionary.
reactionary.
They have to keep their head on a swivel. That's number one, self-protection. Number two, we don't know that she would have done anything another day, another time. And it's very difficult to get into someone's head. I don't care who the psychiatrist happens to be. It's very difficult to be able to say you have no history of any violent crime, of any violent actions, and all of a sudden...
This is an epidemic.
It can happen.
This is an absolute epidemic here.
All right.
We have pervasive healthcare issues we don't address.
They're staying with us. All men tonight, by the way. I just noticed that. I just know it's all men here tonight. Okay, when we come back, there's a missing mom in Indiana. Cody Thomas will join us with the very latest in that. Plus, coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan investigates a young woman's life ends in a Santa Fe home, a sword soaked in blood beside her. Police say her former boyfriend and friend orchestrated the deadly attack, fueled by jealousy and obsession. Was this a crime of manipulation or pure calculated evil? Tonight, we investigate.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Her car's at home, her purse is at home, she's nowhere to be found, and the house is on fire. It makes no sense.
This story out of Indiana, a mom missing, and you just heard her sister speaking there. This is taking place in Bainbridge, Indiana. The house was on fire. Nobody was home. The mom was gone. The next day, she still was not home. Britney Gard is her name, 46 years old. Last seen September 30th. The house was on fire October 1st. When they responded, Britney was not inside. Her cell phone was there. Her car was there. The house is surrounded by cornfields. They've been searching these cornfields. And now tonight, some breaking news. Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas has been following this case for us. You've got the breaking news. What is it?
Well, Vinny, after a week-long search, just moments ago, Britney Gard has been officially found alive. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office in Indiana put this statement out. It says Britney Gard has been located in a wooded area 2.5 miles from her residence. She's being cleared by medical staff now. No further details are available at this time, but Vinny, it's just a blessing that this mother of two, she's the mother of a 25-year-old son, a 13-year-old daughter, she was found safely. And Vinny, you know, I was talking with some of her family members, one of her sisters and her brother-in-law all afternoon today, you know, trying to see if they wanted to join us, if they wanted to do an interview with us, to speak on her behalf, to give their side of the story. And then at some point this afternoon, it went radio silence. But now we probably know why it was that way. They were getting this good news here, you know, and Vinny, it's still just a bizarre story, as you were just mentioning. A fire, she's nowhere to be found, her children are nowhere to be found, her car is home, her purse is home, her phone is home. Reporting from the local outlets say that an iPad was found and it seemed to be wiped of information, and then her house is adjacent to a cornfield, and then police are searching 75 acres of cornfield row by row. They're searching nearby ponds. They're using drones to search for this woman. They were asking neighbors to, you know, utilize their Ring cameras to see if they saw something. But luckily, this woman has been found alive, Vinny. But of course, there are still a few more questions and answers. You know, was she seeing someone? Was she married? You know, where were the kids? Was she struggling with something mentally, emotionally, financially? You know, but we just don't know that information at this time. But at the end of the day, this woman has been found safe.
Now that's the headline. Obviously, that's the most important thing. And again, how close to the home was she found? Because her car was at the home where the fire was.
2.5 miles away, Vinny, in a wooded area. So However she got there, it wasn't in her car. You know, we can assume that she walked there, maybe going through the cornfields, going, you know, in and out of people's backyards, through some woods. 2.5 miles away, Vinnie, to not be in a car. It's just very strange. It's a very weird situation here. But again, found alive, these children will not have to go on without their mother.
Great news. Cody Thomas, thanks so much. Let's bring back in our think tank, who looks a little shocked right now. It usually doesn't end like this way. Thank goodness it does. But some strange circumstances, especially because of the fire, right? Like, people go missing, but this was someone went missing, there was a fire, and you know, she didn't drive away. She I guess, must have walked away.
She was present, basically, is what they're going to be able to conclude, is that she was found 2.5 miles away. You know, I'm not the sportiest fella in the universe. Even I can go 2.5 miles in a couple of hours. If she's last seen, and then the next day there's a fire, there's loss, tremendous loss. My real question is, what's happened since the 1st and today?
Yeah.
How are you in the woods? Because being in the woods for that long,
if she was in the woods the whole time.
She was in the woods the whole time. That's a long time to be in the woods.
Yeah.
I question whether she's been in the woods the entire time, or if she got dropped off there, or, you know, who knows?
We have
so many questions
much to speculate on. Did she set the fire? What does the arson squad say? What is this, an accidental fire?
They've said, it was suspicious. At minimum, suspicious.
It's always going to be suspicious, especially when she has disappeared or may have disappeared. Now she's been found. What are they going to do now? Do we find out from her where she was, what she was doing, how she got to where she was located? What do we know? And was there some other extenuating circumstance that forced her emotionally to disappear? And did she set the fire? All of these questions at some point will be answered.
I think what would be interesting is what was law enforcement sort of zeroed in on for the last week? Did they have some people of interest? Because I find it fascinating to see now that we know that she's safe. And ultimately, we're going to learn what the story is, presumably, right, from her. I think it's fun to, interesting to juxtapose what really happened versus sort of which trail law enforcement was going down. Because just from a defense standpoint, we know that sometimes there's some theories that develop that are very much detached from the reality.
The facts and the reality. Now, we don't know. I mean, it still could be connected to someone else, right? 100%. Someone else could be involved, whether it was an abduction or whatever the circumstances were. Let me ask the lawyers, though, right? So now you've got a suspicious fire at her house. She's found safe. Is there a chance that she doesn't speak with investigators?
It depends.
Absolutely.
It depends. If she is guilty of some or a lot of crimes, or potentially guilty, she needs to KYD BMS, keep her damn big mouth shut, because the more she says, the more trouble she's going to get herself into.
This is where the trap that we see all the time is, because everybody's expecting her, if she didn't do anything wrong, to come out and just talk and be fully up front and all that, because she doesn't have anything to worry about. Everybody on this couch has seen absolutely innocent people turned into the victims of over-aggressive law enforcement, because law enforcement wants answers.
How about the public?
And one of the tools
they could require her to pay for the cost of the search and everything if she doesn't have some great explanation.
If she left voluntarily, right?
Right.
She voluntarily left.
But if
it's the result of mental illness, then probably. I mean, you wouldn't. You want her to get better. We don't know what it is, one way or the other.
They'll charge you and put you in prison for your mental illness if you burn down a house. That's the whole point.
Well, the house wasn't burned down.
Don't talk to the police, because the police take wonderful, innocent statements and turn them around. What is the most guilty person?
So you're saying
say?
at this point, don't even talk?
No.
I think it depends.
Because of the fire part of all this.
It depends on what she did or didn't do, and she needs a good lawyer who knows what he or she is doing to advise her, because we don't know what we don't know. You have to know what you don't know, and we don't know anything at this point other than the house burned.
Well, one thing we do know is the response of the community.
Yes.
Is the community owed an explanation here?
Absolutely.
Well, there's another question. Did she have mental illness before? Had she been treated by a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist? That is extremely important and may go toward the core of this investigation.
But until there's an investigation, shut up. Every defense lawyer in the nation is going to say, no, you let me do the talking.
Sherry Papini, you know.
Yeah,
right?
Let me do the talking. You be quiet. I'll answer questions and come get the info from you. Because she says the wrong thing, lock her up in a second.
This, to me, I'm torn here because I am elated that we're doing a story where someone is found. Right? That's very unusual on Court TV, and I'm happy for her family
in real time.
that they have her. Obviously, something happened here because she's gone for a week, and she has people in her life that love her. She has a daughter who's 13 years old. She's got a sister. There were people looking for her. There were people worried to death. So I'm so happy that they have her back. I feel like cases like this, because the community is so great, all these towns. I mean, people will do whatever they can to help. And whether it's her or a member of the family, just come out and say, I don't think we need to know the details of it, but we just need to know she's okay, she's not harmed, nobody took her. And then we can move on. I think we can move on.
And we don't know that at this point. Someone could have taken her.
She was just found.
Right.
Literally just found.
But law enforcement's going to know.
Right.
And, you know, on this, we've been talking about mental health so far all night. And so if this does have some mental health component to it, where she had some sort of breakdown or whatever that looks like, it would be nice if she was given some space, right?
Compassion.
For them to sort of unwind that and to get her the help that she needs.
My guess is this is a small town. I mean, I was looking at some of the pictures that were taken by our affiliate WRTV of like the downtown there. It's a small community, literal cornfields, like in her backyard, like Field of Dreams. So I think this is a situation where hopefully everyone kind of like exhales and we just make sure that she's okay and the family's okay. But that's great news, for everyone. Missing mom, Britney Gard, 46 years old, back home tonight. When we come back, an arrest in the deadly Palisades fire out in California. We'll give you all the details when we return.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Investigators determined that the Palisades fire, reported on January 7th, was caused by an intentionally set fire near a viewpoint along the Temescal Ridge Trail in Topanga State Park on January 1st. The fire was a holdover fire, meaning it was deeply seated in dense vegetation and roots and continued to burn undetected until catastrophic weather ensued, resulting in the Palisades fire.
So there are the results of the Palisades fire, right? Now, there's been a lot of finger pointing as to why this happened. All this destruction, 6,800 structures, but 12 people who died during these horrific fires. A lot of finger pointing. Well, now the finger is pointed at one man for starting this fire. And today the announcement was made. Let's get the details from the U.S. Attorney.
Today, we are announcing the arrest of 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht for igniting a fire that ultimately burned down the Palisades earlier this year, killing 12 people, destroying more than 6,800 structures, both homes and businesses, and damaging over 1,000 more buildings. The complaint unsealed today charges the defendant with destruction of property by means of fire, a felony that carries a mandatory minimum 5-year federal prison sentence and is punishable by up to 20 years in federal prison. The defendant was arrested yesterday on a federal criminal complaint near his Florida residence, and he's expected to make his initial appearance today in the federal court in Orlando, Florida. The allegations in the affidavit are supported by digital evidence, including the defendant's ChatGPT prompt of a dystopian painting showing in part a burning forest and a crowd fleeing from it. Late last New Year's Eve, Rinderknecht returned to Pacific Palisades after working the evening shift as an Uber driver. 2 of his passengers told law enforcement that he appeared agitated and angry that night. After dropping off a passenger in Pacific Palisades, Rinderknecht parked his car and tried and failed to contact a former friend. He exited the car, walked up a nearby trail, took iPhone videos at a nearby hilltop, and listened to a rap song whose music video including objects being lit on fire. The defendant had listened to this song and watched its music video repeatedly in the days leading up to the Lockman fire. 12 minutes into the new year, environmental sensing platforms indicated that a fire had started. It took the defendant several tries to contact 911 to report the fire. He fled the scene in his car, but turned around after passing fire engines driving in the opposite direction to fight the fire. He is charged with starting a fire on January 1st, which is the fire that burned down the Palisades. It did take a week to reignite, but he is charged with starting the Palisades fire. He started it on January 1st.
All right, there's a little twist here in what we heard today. The fire that he set is on the 1st, and he calls 911, and they come and respond and put it out. But apparently, I didn't know this, they still smolder, and they came back for 2 days checking to make sure that the fire was out. But then, like 5 days later, the fire reignites. So
I smell an appeal.
That's the Achilles heel of the case.
Yeah.
It's not the cleanest case, right?
No,
for arson. In the history of how many arsonists call the fire department?
A lot.
Most of them do. Okay, because they want to see them respond.
Right. And they want to be the hero, you know.
Well, what do you mean they want to be the hero? The hero for reporting.
Yeah. They prevented a catastrophe.
Okay.
Right. So this is
what I don't know is if he told them the circumstances of the starting of the fire.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't.
But we'll not. We may never know. But I'll say this: this is the
But don't
law.
we need to know? Don't we need to know how the fire started?
It would be good if we know.
I think he reported
a fire.
Right. And he claimed that he was at a certain location when he observed it, but they were able to dispute that based upon his location, that he wasn't at that location.
But you have to prove that the fire was started on purpose, right? For it to be arson?
Yeah,
Right.
the strict liability on portions of the charge, but really the intent is clear. He has to have intentionally started
so how
the
are they
fire.
going to prove that it was intentionally set?
Because
it wasn't an accident.
Lighting a fire is an intentional act. That intentional,
Lighting a match.
Yeah, lighting a match.
Okay.
Now, what happens after that, that is up for analysis, and that's why the punishment for arson, some people go, oh my God, I can't believe arson's a death penalty. This is why. Arson's not, I burnt my girlfriend's clothes in the front yard. Arson can very much be deaths, billions of dollars in damages.
Right. He's not charged with murder, though. 12 people died. He's not charged with murder.
But this
They
was
came
a
and
death
put out the
penalty
fire.
for the 12 people who died as a result of what he
He's
likely
only facing like 20 years.
Well, likely he
so
did.
far.
But everything that they've described is circumstantial in nature.
Yep.
There's no direct evidence in this case. It's all circumstantial.
Well, it may be. It depends on what he has said to law enforcement when he first reported it and what, if anything, he says later. It's the law of unintended consequences. If it can happen, it will, and it's never good.
But the real problem is the fact that they put out the fire, and for 2 days, that ostensibly, that would extinguish his criminal liability for what the fire he caused. The state's unfortunate
Especially
failure.
given the fact that he called 911.
Exactly.
He
The
called-
state failed to make sure that the fire stayed out, which he couldn't control at that time, and it reignited.
What is the...
So they have to prove, they're going to also prove, right, beyond a reasonable doubt, that this fire a week later is his fire.
Right.
As a
But
result of his actions,
logically,
absolutely.
like, what is the
Yeah.
statute of limitations? 2 days for, you start a fire and it's after 2 days you could still be liable for it? A month? A year? Like, what is it?
Approximate cost.
Here's the part
continue.
that logically I don't understand. If they're saying it's definitely his fire and they can prove it's his fire, why didn't they put it out?
They
They
did.
put it out. They
No,
thought
no,
they had put it
Put it
out.
out twice.
They thought they put it out.
Right.
And they came back to check
So
on
how
it
do they
as well.
know
So
that
is-
it's his fire if they went back, if they knew that there was still a fire burning, they wouldn't have left it there in the first place. And aren't those the experts, the firefighters?
They're concluding.
I'm confused.
If you're defending this case, you bring in
fire investigators. That's a
right,
whole
but I
different
think this
situation.
case is going to be won or lost on a battle of the experts, because I think it's going to be very difficult to determine.
I'm trying to get to the common sense of it, because I don't understand anything about fires. Like, if you know that the fire is still smoldering, you're not going to leave it there. How do you not know it's still smoldering?
They're saying it was underneath, and they thought it was extinguished. When it turns out it was, they came back, it was still extinguished. Apparently, somewhere unbeknownst to them, it was.
Well, then how do they know that it's the same fire?
From where it originated.
How do you trust?
Then why didn't they put it out if they can track it
At some
after?
point, it seems you'd think after they put it out that his criminal liability is done.
No, not if it's his fire. He has to own it.
But when does he lose the fire? That's what Vinnie's getting at.
If you can track after the fact track where this fire started, why can't you track when the fire is burning to where it is?
Here's the real problem.
That's what I don't understand.
I don't understand it either.
The state's criminally negligent.
He went quiet. They went underground and went quiet. I think
we've got 4 men, but not one fireman here. All right. Thanks. Josh Schiffer, Charles Middlestad, Daryl Cohen. Amazing. When we return, something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, inside a tense interrogation room, chilling confessions and denials emerge as investigators piece together the murder of 21-year-old Grace Jennings. Prosecutors claim manipulation. The defense points to mental instability. Who really is responsible, and why did it happen? Tonight, we investigate.
This is the Court TV Podcast.
Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. No contest. And oh my goodness, she's smiling. That's Taylor Shabusiness, the scariest defendant I've ever seen in Court TV. Here they are wheeling her in, tied down because she has attacked her attorneys in the past. She's been convicted initially of killing and dismembering her friend Shad. There she is attacking one of her lawyers in one of her appearances. Today she pled no contest for disorderly contest and for going after a prison employee in a battery case. Let's take a look as Taylor Shabusiness does not attack anyone in court.
So, Ms. Shabusiness, what is your plea to the amended count disorderly conduct?
No contest. We ain't doing no contest.
No contest. Ms. Shabusiness, I accept your plea. I find that it's been freely, voluntarily, intelligently made. I find that there is a factual base for your plea. I accept it, find you guilty, and enter judgment.
Extremely dangerous, locked up for life, but who knows what else she's going to do while she's locked up. Right now, folks, take a look at your screens. We have a missing child who needs your help. This is Aviana Fitzgerald, just 17 years old, missing out of Fort Worth, Texas. If you see Aviana, please pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Fort Worth, Texas PD. That number's on your screen right now. Let's see if we can get Aviana to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.
There you have it. If you want to see more in-depth reporting on the latest true crime stories, you can see me every weeknight, 8 p.m. Eastern on Closing Arguments. Thank you so much for downloading. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.
This podcast is a production of Court TV. Go to CourtTV.com for more content, trials on demand, and to find out how to watch Court TV in your area.